Hey, what's happening, guys? Mike Moon here. This is, of course, a rebroadcast of the live Hangout number 4 from Peak Design. In today's broadcast, they introduced two new bags. There is the Duffel and the Duffel Pack, and they're going to retail. Basically, they're going to release some sort of survey sometime in a week from now, basically next week, where they're going to ask us some things that could help in the development. They're mid-development. But they're going to release these bags sometime estimated April of 2019. So this might be something that you're going to be able to add on your pledge. Details will be coming in a week or two. And it's going to start at either $129 to $179 or $189. And then the bigger one, which is the pack model, is going to be $199 to $299. And these are directly from the CEO himself. Anyways, on to the replay. If you are interested in backing it, there's still about 13 days left. If you can go ahead and use my link down below, that'd be great. It is an affiliate link, which I might get a small commission for anything that you back through my link. I'd appreciate that very much. Thank you very much.
Can't imagine Walter Cronkite giving that.
Oh, I'm sure he's dead. The guy's a player. He's just fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone looks.
How we doing?
One kind of
Welcome. Come on in.
Timmy.
Plenty of room.
We're
Get
like
around,
5.
get around.
You want to talk about our new angle that we're showing off, Steve?
Your new angle.
Welcome to the design studio.
from that side.
Usually
Yes.
we shoot this direction. Today we're shooting this direction. That's
Oh
Potrero Hill.
man, that looks great.
Potrero Hill in the
Look at
background.
that. Hey,
And
yo,
zoom.
bring a shade up.
No, don't do that.
Oh, okay, never mind. Look. All right. Apparently, light. I don't know a lot about cameras.
Here's a vampire.
So yeah, soft goods team sits over here. Hard good folks over yonder. This is kind of our general multi-purpose workspace,
Dude.
and we're kind of at the sewing table right now.
Vic, can you see the door at all to the other side of the office?
There. Oh yes. What happens over there? Well, nothing, because it's Friday. These whole super liberal working policies, work from home, are being well taken advantage of, which is pretty great because we all do it. But
We've got to get 250 people.
oh, that's enough. Okay, let's. Hey,
Hey,
Art,
Oh, I see
that's
what it is.
not a furry button. That's the microphone.
What the hell is this
With
fuzzball
All
stuck
right.
on the end of the table?
250 folks. That's enough to say welcome. Welcome to our backers, our 8th set of backers here on Kickstarter. My, how the platform has grown, as has this company. Oddly enough, because of the platform and backers like you. So thanks for being with us here this Friday. I've got my trusty old pal Art Vijay, who's been with me since nearly the very beginning. Our lead designer at Peak Design. Say hello, Arthur.
Hello, Art Vijay. Nice to meet you.
And I am the guy, Peter Daring, who is very lucky enough to have a neat idea back in the day that worked on this platform and got to launch this incredible company and work with a ton of friends. And it's been a total dream. And I like saying that every time, and I'm extremely grateful and aware of how lucky we've been in getting here. I think one thing that's interesting is it's been about 2 years since you guys last saw us on this platform here when we had a backpack. That was our last backpack production. So we've had a 2-year gap in designing soft goods. And I mention that because what you see on the Kickstarter right now is kind of our magnum opus when it comes to travel, at least for the time being. The 45-liter travel backpack is squarely, we believe, the best product for travel. But there's lots of ways to skin a cat. And this whole journey of travel backpack actually began far more along the world of travel duffels. And a lot of Art's early ideations were more in that vein. And, it was kind of a push and pull between the design team and Art and myself as to which kind of format of carry was going to win out. And I absolutely love the travel backpack, and it's my favorite product that we've ever made. But these two products are similarly wonderful and have an important part in this line. We didn't really think that we'd get them out in time for this Kickstarter, but here we are. It's Friday, September 7th, and we're pumped to show up to you. So Art, bake them away, toys.
Right. So we have two different bag formats here that we think fill a really great and needed niche in the kind of way that people carry gear for various different types of travel situations. So in, like Pete said, with the travel backpack, the way I really like to think of the travel backpack is kind of it's a bit of a quiver killer. It does everything. It can act like a duffel, but primarily the format and the feature set that it has, which is a very robust feature set, is based around a bag that you live and work out of on the road. And that means that it can be your one bag carry or an accompanying bag to a roller or a small day bag or something like that. These duffels are more about point A to point B transportation. So getting your gear, your clothing, or your camera gear, whatever it is, from your house to where you're going, and then you kind of leave them there, and then you kind of set out with your day bag or your everyday backpack or your travel backpack or whatever that is. You're not going to want to carry these around all day. As a result, they have a feature set that is much more tailored to that style of travel. They're more about just being a big, clean, accessible volume that is a great experience to carry around. So they don't have features like laptop storage or dedicated water bottle pockets and tablet sleeves and all of these things that we love about a good backpack don't really apply once you kind of assume that these aren't the only bags you're carrying. You probably have an additional backpack with these. So they're great accompanying bags to the travel backpack and or the everyday backpack or all kinds of other things. So.
Yeah, I think Art, something you should mention is that the purpose of this hangout today is introducing it,
sure.
Sort of where they fall in terms of development, and that right now we're not really asking people to back these.
Yeah, sure.
We're getting you pumped up and getting your feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a little bit different than what we've done in the past on Kickstarter in that these bags the concepts around them are formed. I would say they're well formed, but the details and the sizing and some of the feature set and some of the materiality and all of these things are not. I would say that these are like halfway through development, whereas the travel backpack was pretty darn far through development by the time we showed it to you. And that's cool for a number of reasons, because we're going to put out a survey to you folks and get your feedback on what you think of these things, and that will help steer the final kind of direction of these things and polish everything up. And it's also cool because it's just you get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain and see some rough prototypes, and we get to put more cool products into the campaign. It's worth noting about delivery and stuff. I don't know if you want to touch down that road.
Yeah, this is a secondary fulfillment. We have been cranking in Vietnam on the travel tools and the travel backpack, and we are ready to fulfill that by our promise date. We've been saying Christmas. We'll still say Christmas. I always like to think that we can beat that, and I think that we will. But certainly by then. But things are really progressing very smoothly. These are, like Art said, further down the line, but I have just ever increasing confidence in our supply chain's ability to take our concepts now and first off.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 minute high level. What's this guy about?
Cool. So there's two bags. There's a travel duffel and a travel duffel pack. And right now the sizing, thank you. The sizing that we're looking at right now for this one is, I will say this bag is a little bit smaller than what we're thinking final kind of direction of these things and polish everything up. And it's also cool because, it's just you get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain and see some rough prototypes. And we get to put more cool products into the campaign. It's worth noting about delivery and stuff. I don't know if you want to touch down that road.
Yeah, this is a secondary fulfillment. This, we have been cranking in Vietnam on the travel tools and the travel backpack, and we are ready to fulfill that by our promise date. We've been saying Christmas. We'll still say Christmas. I always like to think that we can beat that, and I think that we will. But certainly by then. But things are really progressing very smoothly. These are, like Art said, further down the line, but I have just ever increasing confidence in our supply chain's ability to take our concepts now and spin them up into reality. This is just because we've been getting deeper and deeper involved with our partners in Vietnam. As our community has grown, it's given us greater scale and greater ability to move quickly and move accurately, which is really cool. So Art, I'm going to have you, let's go through the travel duffel first off.
Yeah, absolutely.
2-minute high level. What's this guy about?
Cool. So there's two bags. There's a travel duffel and a travel duffel pack. And right now the sizing, the sizing that we're looking at right now for this one is, I will say this bag is a little bit smaller than what we're thinking about, but it's basically a carry-on size bag. So it's in the neighborhood of 22 inches long and some format that is roughly carry-on size. That being said, this is a very unstructured bag, especially by Peak Design standards, because we tend to make pretty structured bags. There's only a structural piece of foam on the bottom, which is to kind of protect the fabric, but also the main format for the carry is actually kind of, I like to think of it as a almost like a firewood carrier, where you have these handles, and that ties into the main structure of the bag that wraps around the back. So right now this thing's all stuffed out with pillows, but if there's not that much in here, these sides kind of automatically collapse the top of the bag when you pick it up and keep things nice and tidy. Couple of different ways to, so this format here, it has these kind of, it's a straight zip with wings. So what that does is gives you really, really big, huge open access, even better than a U-zip would provide, but keeps the zipping experience really, really quick and clean. We're thinking shoulder strap included with this guy, which is like this. And that basically allows for kind of the down by your side carry. And we're going to give a nice adjustment range on that as well, so you can do more of kind of a cross style carry as well. And then, so that's one way. And the way that we're attaching to these wings really kind of allows the bag to kind of wrap around your body really nicely, rather than just being this kind of object that you're carrying around. Beyond that, if you don't care about the shoulder strap carry that is obviously removable, and you want to focus on just a really simple hand carry, we've got some hardware on the side that secures the ends like so. And that is just a really nice, simple unit. This bag is really like about aesthetics and simplicity and kind of just really stripping away a lot of garbage. And this is a padded tubular webbing handles. We're working on some magnetic action on these to clip these guys together. TBD on that aspect of it. And that gives a really nice, we're going to go a little bit longer so that you can get kind of an over-the-shoulder carry on these guys. And there's various ways that you can set these up. I don't want to go too deep into that and overpromise because, like I said, these are like halfway through development. We're still messing around with a lot of different things. I can pretty much guarantee that this hardware is not going to be hook-style hardware. It's going to be this new awesome flat hook-style hardware that we're developing. And yeah, a couple of pockets on the sides that we're going to add in here for very basic organization, but that is the majority of the feature set.
Very cool. And as far as a waterproof construction, it's your opinion is that it's naturally a little more weatherproof even than the backpack. Fewer ingress points.
Yeah, fewer ingress points. We're going to do a kind of kissing cover style zipper, which is actually more similar to what we have on the duffel pack here. So you get a really nice covered up zipper on that. And then the patterning on this bag is all about removing seams. So there's only 4 panels that make up the entire shape of this bag, which, you know, versus a lot of more complicated bags. It's just a lot less places for water to get in the bag. The water is fully waterproof. The fabric is fully waterproof. It does have seams, so those are ingress points. But I mean, you really have to get the bag pretty darn soaked before you start to see any water intrusion at that point. So, very weatherproof bag.
Did you talk about compatibility with packing tools and accessories?
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, and then also just the complementary nature, I think, of this bag, especially with the travel backpack. If you're looking to go with a non-roller setup where you've got a backpack on, obviously a handle carry or a shoulder strap carry is going to be the best kind of complement. So that was an important thing, and kind of part of the reason that we wanted to get this out there during this campaign. Give the opportunity to back and show it to you.
So,
internals.
Not too much to report. What's cool about the construction on the internals of this, and this is not final fabric, so what we're planning on doing is most bags that are constructed like this, mainly for a number of reasons, but there will be a liner throughout the whole bag, and that really creates a lot of like pulling away on the interior of the bag. We're planning to go linerless on this bag and do an interior coating on the fabric that will be a brighter color, probably our light gray that we're doing on the rest of the black. So the interior of the bag will be extremely clean because it's just essentially one very thick, well-coated piece of fabric rather than a burly piece of fabric and then a floppy kind of shitty liner fabric floating around inside. And probably some very light organization inside, but again, trying to kind of strive for simplicity on this one. So, yeah.
Fitting of the cubes, as far as kind of a packing unit system, this thing will fit 1, 2, 3 cubes. At the moment, this current size falls about 4 centimeters short from doing that, but that is our object. So I think just it's important to kind of show this is the width of our loaded cube right now.
Yeah, so the idea is that you would be able to fit 3
One,
of
two,
our
three.
kind of units, one, and then this is the medium size, which is two packing units, basically.
Right.
So,
And so you can see that dimension is going to need to grow slightly, circumferentially, and but it will be able to wrap around and provide a really nice shape and hold those.
Totally.
And I also think it's worth mentioning even that I think that it's important. You know, the travel backpack being as full featured as it is, it certainly warrants the retail price tag that it has, $299. But you know, we certainly appreciate that $299 is a lot to spend, and if you can get into our system of packing tools at a lower price point that you're more comfortable with, it's not going to be as full featured. It's a vastly different experience, but we still want you to have that ability to have a peak design product that works with our travel tools.
Cool. So that's the duffel, and then this is the duffel pack. And the way that things are shaking out right now is that these bags are designed around what we think makes sense to carry this much gear. So that is a carry-on size bag at about 35, 40 liters somewhere in there. And this bag starts in this state at about 45 liters. So it's 26 inches long, which is 4 inches longer than the max carry-on size, but about the same diameter as like a standard carry-on size backpack. But this bag, because when you're carrying this much stuff, it's pretty easy, especially if you're going just anywhere with like a cold climate, or you're bringing a lot of gear. Like I think of like going like on a ski or snowboard trip, or doing any sort of like hiking or climbing, or you're just transporting a lot of gear to the trailhead. This is a great feature that you're going to like for that, and that is that basically there are these expansion zips on either side here, like this, and that basically lets the bag open up, and it gains about 15 extra liters, 15 to 20 extra liters of volume. It's a huge amount of extra volume, and that really just, it's not the primary way that I would want to carry the bag necessarily. I mean, frankly, because it would weigh a lot with that much weight. But it's a great kind of like overflow emergency option. And frankly, if you're carrying a bunch of big, bulky stuff like whatever, jackets and blankets and who knows what, yeah, it's like a really great feature. So I'm gonna zip that back so you can. Big expansion, guys. Nope. Just like that. And you can see that's a much more, and one thing to note is this bag is a little bit more squared up, and it's based more around a backpack style carry, like this. It's flatter on the back, more or less kind of a barrel profile. So that right there is about 45 liters. I think we'll actually come down in size from this state a tiny bit, and we might even reduce the expansion because it's so much expansion. It's probably more than most people need. And then we've got some really cool storing strap system on that, but let me show you what it's like to get into the bag. We have currently on this guy Fidlock hardware, so you just pull that over to the side and that releases, and then it magnets down into place like so. So it's kind of a pull over to get up. And then we've got huge access. I just have this thing stuffed with fabric and all kinds of garbage right now. But you can see how there's some PE stiffener boards in this, although the bag primarily is unstructured except for the bottom and the kind of back panel, as it were. And that just opens up kind of like a doctor bag and gives you crazy huge access to all your gear, which is awesome. So, zip that guy back up. Magnet those guys down. So currently the kind of the duffel style carry occurs with these handles that are mounted onto the fronts of the straps, kind of where a sternum strap would be. Probably not going to do a sternum strap on this bag just because it's designed to be carried for shorter distances than most backpacks due to the kind of point A to point B nature of duffel travel. But that's the way that you carry it, right like that. And yeah, it feels great. And also a lot of the way that the backpacks do this is they'll do kind of like a skinny strap in this thing, and that creates kind of an uncomfortable, weird backpack strap experience. The way that we've mounted these guys on the front is really comfortable. It feels just like a normal backpack strap. In addition to that, these straps can stow, similar to the travel backpack, but kind of in the opposite direction, as it were, like that. So I've just got the one stowed there. And when those straps are stowed, you would kind of be carrying that in case style here, which is actually much nicer, I think, for a bag of this shape, because it's a lot narrower in this direction than it is in this direction, so it's not banging you in the knee. So that's kind of probably one of the primary carry styles, is with those big side handles. And then we've got these waist straps here that actually fold out. Now, most duffel packs or duffel bags that have backpack straps on the market do not have a waist belt. And it's one area that we thought was a real opportunity to kind of, bring a really useful feature to, I mean, frankly, like, this bag can get extremely heavy, and that is like the one time you really want a waist strap. So it's kind of funny to give the heaviest bag, one of the heaviest bags that you carry, like the weakest harness system. So because of our strap storage system, we're not penalized by by giving you waist straps just by how they store so cleanly, you don't even notice that they're there. So.
To be clear, the bag itself isn't actually particularly heavy. In fact, it's unstructured, unfoamed for the most part, so it's fairly light.
Yes.
Ours just means that you can carry a lot.
Yes.
So unless you're carrying pillows,
yeah, totally.
it can get heavy.
Definitely don't have final weights on the bag yet, but it will probably be a little bit lighter than the travel backpack just because of the reduced feature set. Back to that feature set real quick. We do have these big, huge pockets on the side with this really cool perforated mesh in here. Those can definitely fit something as big as a water bottle, but you are taking up volume with those pockets from the inside a little bit. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast with this bag, to try and keep a nice clean profile on the outside of the bag. Probably have a couple of little organization pockets inside as well. But yeah, that's the duffel bag.
Cool. Thanks, Art.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
So a lot of interesting comments about durability, especially in regards to checking the bag.
Sure.
Probably a few things to say both about that durability, but also intended use. It is a check-in size bag, but as a gear hauler, there's a lot of intended uses that we have started to think about well beyond airline travel.
Yeah.
People talking about just parts of it, like how do you think it would hold up within the check bag system?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's obviously a huge, important thing for all of our bags is durability. We do a lifetime warranty on all of our stuff. So these are not final materials. These are not final, hardware. Like I've got like little plastic hardware and stuff on this. We're developing dedicated hardware for this bag right now. That's all 3mm stamped anodized aluminum, and are probably going to tweak this fabric, which these samples right now are made in the same 900D recycled polyester fabric with a face coating that's called a carbonate coating, which is extremely durable and also has this really nice kind of leathery, rubbery hand feel to it. And that's the same fabric that we use on the bottom of the travel backpack and the bottom of the everyday backpack, and actually the whole everyday line for the most part, with the exception of the sling. I think it's the only bag that doesn't have that. It has a amazing proven track record. I've actually never seen that fabric fail, basically, in any of our, we have basically every aspect of every one of our bags at some stage has failed in, whatever crazy circumstances. There's enough bags out there and enough people doing wild stuff with them that, we've seen the gamut of things that can happen to a bag, but I've actually never seen any issues with this fabric. So we know that it's extremely durable, it's extremely tear resistant, it's extremely abrasion resistant, and it looks really good for a long time with the face coating. So I think this fabric would do great on the duffel as is, but I've got like a lot of ideas right now that we're cooking for how to improve it and up the durability even more and up the weatherproofness even more. So more to come on that.
I think I saw that some people were more concerned about like the wings, sort of, if you will. And
a little bit.
A combination of things.
Yeah.
The wings, the nature of the panels coming down, and then sort of when everything is secured in, quickly being able to move it around without having to pull it. Sort of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there are grab handles on here. So in the event that everything is stowed, like so, and this is going to improve. There's like 9 reasons why it works well, but not amazingly, and I can
Sort of a proof of concept.
Yeah, this is a proof of concept essentially. So I won't go down that road, but know that it will get significantly better. There is robust grab handles on either side of the bag. It would be kind of like a grab and go kind of case style carry. We have tossed around the idea of doing a separate shoulder strap that would likely mount to either probably somewhere in here, like so. But it kind of depends on feedback that you guys give us about whether you think you need backpack straps and a shoulder strap. I personally don't think you do, because the backpack straps on this thing are great, but that's my opinion. So.
cool. What other hot questions?
Sorry, zooming in.
Oh.
Other hot questions. I saw a few questions about capture compatibility, which is
Yeah, so features like that, like capture compatibility, are really all about when you're working out of the bag. When you're traveling and the bag is your primary kind of like work platform for photography or, travel or walking around and stuff. These are really supplementary things. That's the best way that I would think about them. I don't think, I'm sure people will, but the primary use case for these things is holding a lot of gear, getting it from point A to point B, and keeping things pretty simple and clean on the outside, whereas things like capture attachment points and all of that is something that's much more of a dedicated backpack or sling bag or messenger style feature.
which is all there's and part of that also is that we want these to be accompanying bags for some of our more full feature bags. And the more we can keep the cost down on that, the more likely that is to be a scenario.
Yeah.
Sure. Did you talk about compatibility with the packing tools on the duffel bag? It's a unit bigger.
Right, yeah, so size-wise on this one, it's kind of unexpanded state. This bag is 4 units. It's like 4 and a tiny bit unit. You could probably do a 4 and a tech pouch or field pouch in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for that. So this is a little bit oversized right now, but not too much. It's actually pretty close. And undetermined whether or not we're going to do the C-clip system that allows you to lash these into the bag, mainly because we're trying to think of a use case where that's really necessary because of the nature of the way that people use bags like this. What the C-clips allow you to do is basically attach it to the inside of the bag, and so that when you open the bag, you can leave the camera cubes open and kind of fold the lid back like so, and then have one zip access to your gear. It's just unclear if that's actually a useful thing or not. We're going to be messing around with that in our next rounds of prototypes. And if that's something that is super important to you, let us know about it in the survey.
Yeah, we actually got a question that I'm seeing Hicks is kind of talking about, but that I think ties into that. Someone was asking, why would I do this instead of a pellet? I think that, there's just a very dedicated sort of
It weighs half as much.
but I think if you've got gear, if you've got your stuff and you're traveling, what we would want is for you to have that on your person. Put it on the backpack, travel backpack. You just made that bag, it was perfect. And if you've got that thing filled out with a large camera cube, and you still need to pack out your clothes, and a jacket, and shoes, et cetera,
Exactly.
this lets you do that.
Yeah.
You've got your expensives with you on the plane, check the other stuff.
Right, yeah. So what he's saying is basically if you're using the travel backpack fully packed out as your pure photography kit, which I'm sure a lot of people will do, unless you're traveling extremely lightly, you're probably going to need a secondary bag to carry clothing, especially if you're going anywhere that isn't balmy and tropical, because basically a jacket takes up a lot of space. So that's where a secondary companion bag would be. You check something like this or check that, and you would carry on all your camera gear, because I know people don't like to check their photography equipment for good reason. I know I don't like to. So.
Sure. And then also we're not pretending that this is. Some people do check Pelican cases full of camera gear, because sometimes that's required. That's a different use case, and we're definitely not trying to supplant that need.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is competing with the Pelican case. I think the Pelican case is all about that maximum protection, checkable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people will check camera gear in here, but it's really based on the assumption that from the majority of photographers that we've talked to, unless you're a serious pro carting a lot of equipment around, people don't like to check their camera gear.
Yeah.
So we've had.
If you feel differently, let us know.
There's been some people that have kind of logged in and might have missed the intro in terms of how far these are into development versus when we first showed off the travel backpack. And additionally, what is the goal of our Hangout today, and when are these going to be available?
So I think I can feel that. The goal of the Hangout today is show you these concepts, kind of get the stoke going, be able to gauge, like, first off, gauge, is this more interesting to people or is this more interesting to people? We're hoping that they're both interesting to people. And then as we prepare for the next round of prototype, which Art is going to be working over the weekend in order to finalize those designs, we want to get your feedback. And so a little bit later today, we're going to be putting out a survey that helps advance this design towards that next prototype. We hope to get that in by next Friday would be spectacular. It will probably happen by next Monday. And we want to make available for backing on the campaign, either Monday or Tuesday, these 2 bags. It'll either be available as an add-on only or even as an individual reward. We're not quite certain yet. So this is to get feedback, get the excitement going, get a little bit more knowledge for last week of the campaign, release it for availability.
And is that a good place to talk about delivery, separate delivery?
Yeah, separate delivery. I talked about that before, separate fulfillment. We are saying April is when we expect to be able to fulfill these. I think that we say that fairly confidently because although the details, I mean, certainly the devil's in the details, but we get to do things like kick off fabrics, and normally that has like a 60-day lead time. And we'll be able to do that while working out some of the finer details.
Yeah.
And so when we say April, we're quite confident in our ability to hit that.
Yeah. So we feel like we have fairly well-formed concepts here. It really is that last 30% of all of the details and kind of features and materials and everything that will get dialed in. And I have a pretty high level of confidence in our ability to do that. So
People would like to know roughly what might these cost.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's kind of, it's a big topic of discussion here.
We put a range of costs up on our type form, and you'll see that right now. This one,
Yeah, in the survey.
I believe in our survey, I believe we're looking at somewhere between 129 and 189 for this one, and depending on how much bill of materials cost goes into the cost.
Yeah.
This one right here, same calculation basically, and it's going to land somewhere between $199 and $299. For me personally, I'd like to see this one remain feature reduced and free of the things that add cost to it, because I think for the big gear hauling type of mechanism and for it to be a simple product, I tend towards liking the $199 price point. But we got to make it the best bag that for that it can be, and so we're going to allow that potentially to creep up even as much as the travel backpack. It is an extremely high quality bag. It has great versatility, and if we do price it on that upper end of it, it's because the cost of making it warrants that, and we think the value to the customer also warrants that.
Yeah.
Those are our calculations when we figure out price.
Kind of depends on how the final, I would say the main drivers are the final hardware package that we settle on for everything, because our hardware is a big driver for cost because we do so much custom high-end hardware on our bags. And then also, like Pete said, the feature set, and that's going to be largely driven by the survey. So if people want all the bells and whistles on these bags, then that'll obviously affect the bill of materials at the end of the day and the MSRP.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cool.
yeah. So we're leaving it open-ended at this point.
A handful of questions about, especially on the duffel bag, if people want to use it as a gym bag, subdividing that space, smells, odors, what we should do.
Yeah, totally. Currently, it's just one space, but that is kind of why we made the shoe bag rather than forcing that sort of functionality into what essentially would be, because a place to put shoes is a really handy thing to have on a lot of different travel bags. And basically, we would feel obligated to force that feature into all of the bags. And for people who don't want that feature, that's kind of like for me personally, like I don't actually want that for a number of reasons. But so that is a detractor for me, not a feature. So that's why we decided to break that functionality off into the shoe bag, which obviously will work beautifully in this bag here.
That's right. Yep, it'll work great as a gym duffel. You know, the only thing where it's gonna like, as far as we've been kicked around the idea of putting this in the everyday line, but the fact is you can't carry a laptop with it, and many folks need to carry a laptop to and from work. So I don't think we can justifiably call it an everyday bag. That being said, if you don't, if that's not you, if you don't need a laptop, you can have it as an everyday duffel.
Yep. Cool. What else got there, Lauren?
I think we handled most of the questions. I would just say, you know, we've got eyes on the chat right now. If anyone wants to throw in any more questions, let's just oh yeah,
It's a Q&A. Shoe compartment.
Just
The smaller duffel get more handles on sides for better access.
More handles on the smaller duffel. I'm definitely messing around with that. The next prototype that I have has end handles as well, which is great for kind of grabbing in and out of the bag. Actually, could be potentially nice on this one as well. Again, sort of the goal is to keep things very simple and clean. So we're not going to throw in as much, you know, anything that is useful. We're not going to throw the kitchen sink on these guys, but if it's something that feels necessary, we'll leave it in there. So yeah, the next sample round that I have in development right now, I actually am doing a black and a sage sample that are coming in, and they have like 20 different tweaks and hardware packages and handle configurations and all this stuff, and we're hoping to show those to you guys next week.
Cool. Right on. Well, if there's not too much more, I'll cut it off there just because we've got some work to do in creating that follow-up survey and making sure it's got all the right questions. But we are grateful for you spending some of your time with us this afternoon or morning or night, wherever it is that you are in the world. And it's going to be a really fun remaining 13 days of the campaign. So thanks for being with us so far. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
There's a bunch of general questions.
Okay.
As always, you can ask Stu and Adam Hicks on the general comment board on the Kickstarter page, and that's the best place for those.
well, I'll relegate the whole question specifically to the survey first. So if you've got duffel-related things, let's funnel those to the survey that we're going to link in a update in just a little bit, and then, like Alicia was saying, all your questions about the accessories, the rest of the travel bag, the 45-liter travel backpack, all that stuff, keep going on the comment section. Hicks and Stu are going strong there, and they'll get your answers.
Cool.
Okay.
And where can they find the survey?
Survey will be in the update. We're going to post it in just a little while.
All right.
Stand by.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Thank
Happy
you.
Friday.
Well, that's it for this live hangout. Keep in mind that these new 2 bags may be added near the end of the campaign. There's only about 13 days left. Be sure you back. Now, please use my link. I would really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.